All right, let's talk some stock stories. Let's talk Apple too, and the response to yesterday's event. Renita Young, of course, we're getting some of the biggest bulls on the street coming out and pushing up price targets.
Oh yeah, they're out. So yesterday, investors were not that enthused about the Wanderlust event. They were not that enthused about the new iPhone 15 phones. But today, Apple's biggest cheerleader, of course, is boosting the price target to a value that assumes around a 36% move to the upside from where it closed yesterday.
Mr. Dan Ives, right?
Oh yes, absolutely. He boosted the price target to $240 from $230, maintaining an outperform rating. He cites in particular the iPhone 15 upgrade cycle. He has a lot of confidence in it for the next year or so. And of course, it's good news for Apple because of what's been happening lately with the stock. But the analyst, he called the event impressive overall, saying that it did lay the groundwork for that new upgrade cycle over the next year. He says that he believes it'll excite or surprise the street to the upside when it comes to the actual numbers when people do. And you know what? This kind of tracks. I'll tell you why. Because I saw a study earlier this year in May that said by March of this year, about 31% of iPhone users had been holding on to an iPhone that was at least 3 years old.
Yeah.
And so I guess they're due for an upgrade right now. And you know, we always hear rumors about when the new iPhone is coming out, and people hold out for that. So he expects, after doing some Asia supply chain checks, for right out the gate, there to be sales of about 85 million iPhone units, even up to 90 million when we bring in closer to the holiday season.
Okay, so maybe this kicks in a couple months.
Yeah, maybe a couple of months, but even now, I mean, pre-sales start very soon.
Okay.
And so people can start to, I guess, get that. We'll get some preliminary numbers, hopefully, from Apple about what they're saying. But something else impacting the stock this morning is now we have the China government saying that they did not have a ban on Apple iPhones or other smartphones. Now that is far different from what we heard from the Wall Street Journal last week, which said that sources told them that they were banning the use of the phone. Now Apple is, of course, hugely exposed into China. We know that almost 20% of its overall revenue comes from China, but it's a mutually beneficial relationship because a lot of jobs are created in China as a result of Apple. So one interesting note that I believe Kevin said last week is that for this to happen without any sort of a negotiation is pretty interesting as well because it's so mutually beneficial.
That's a good point. This morning at 177, we're not seeing some big relief trade. So as I was talking about earlier, kind of the bar for disappointment being low in this market, the way it freaked out last week on that report without having all the details, without really having clear numbers, because we talked about some of those analyst notes that were like, oh, this is going to be a couple million impact. Oh, it's going to be 10 million impact. It seemed like it was a very nebulous story, basically, without any confirmation. Stock got hit down 4% 2 days in a row. This is not exactly undoing that this morning.
No, it's not necessarily a relief trade. Now, to be fair, we can give traders a little bit more time to weigh in on this, but from the looks of it right now, no, not that big of a deal. And the event yesterday, underwhelming.
True. All right, well, we'll see if the broad market kind of clears the way for more relief as they're trying to shrug off the inflation print. We'll see how Apple trades in the session. Thanks for the update. And of course, seeing some of the price target hikes and the confidence from the sell side after Apple yesterday, trying to stoke a little upside in one of the most important companies for the S&P 500. But right now, pretty muted this morning.